Win the incredible Steigercraft 21DB Miami, powered by a Yamaha 200, in the ultimate season-long multiple-species subscriber-only fishing competition, the Fisherman's 2017 Dream Boat Fishing Challenge. Go to thefisherman.com and enter today. The fishing news is brought to you by Okuma and The Reel Seat at 707 Union Avenue in Brielle. Gear up for spring trolling with expert wireline installation and a full selection of mojos, plugs, and bunker spoons.
Well, good things to report from the New Jersey region this week. I'm Jim Hutchinson with a New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine, and I guess everybody's been waiting for that full moon of May, which passed on Wednesday the 10th, and in the days leading up, we did have some good reports. Let's start with the big news that we had over the weekend. Here from the Raritan Bay, where I'm out of Twin Lights Marina today. Yeah, I guess I'm chasing reports just like everybody else, but the big fish that we had weighed in, so far it's the biggest of the 2017 season that I know of. It was Joseph Bonner. He had one that pinned the scale to 54 pounds. It was a 53-incher over at Raritan Marina. He caught that over the weekend someplace out here on the Raritan Bay, trolling a mojo. We were out chasing some fish today. Do have some good reports now coming from along the coast this week as well, so maybe it was that full moon. Now, you go from Raritan Bay, where it's been a lot of bluefish and a pick of stripers, go down to the Delaware. On the Delaware River, we're still getting some good reports up the river. Mint Diggity Davis continues to run for some good fish, catch and release action on the upper reaches of the Delaware River. He's also trolling some mojos as well, he said. And I would imagine as some of those fish spawn out, drop down into the lower bay, and start making their migration along the coast, it should bode well for the next couple of months, really, if you think about it. The coastal migration is definitely on. More reports from out front. In fact, we were out this week. I was out with Captain Erwin Heinrich of Scales and Tails, and we actually left the Raritan and went south. Quite a few fish now being caught along the open beaches from Long Beach Island all the way up till the Long Branch area. Most of the fish are being caught on mojos and majas, so definitely time to break out some of that trolling gear. Captain Dave DeGennaro, as a matter of fact, he checked in earlier this week. He had a 30-pounder south of Barnegat Inlet. He was trolling a Maja, while John Rhodes, on the other hand, he had a 42.29-pounder just north of Barnegat Inlet. And that was on a reliable spoon with a Maja. Now, we had some fish up to 40 pounds. We had them both on live bunker and also some swim shads with the folks from Tsunami as well. While that coastal migration is on, don't forget you've got some inlet and bay stripers as well. Had a nice lean 20-pounder post-spawn by Miles Bosley. He brought it into Absecon Bay Sportsman earlier in the week. But again, now's the time. If you haven't spooled up with a wire, you haven't re-spooled and gotten your gear all ready, the time has come. And that time we were waiting for, some of that trolling action and some of the big fish out front. Definitely some big fish out there, 30s, 40s, and even into the 50s. Now, of course, this year, the 2017 Dream Boat Fishing Challenge from the Fisherman magazine, like last year, we don't have stripers on the board. We will in a couple of years, but right now, the concern is the stock. As a matter of fact, the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission met this week, and one of the considerations they were going to have is loosening up the striper regulations. But they said until they get that next benchmark stock assessment, they're going to keep the striped bass cutbacks that we had just a couple of years ago. So while we don't have stripers, though, we do expect some of those big choppers to start coming in and loading up that Dreamboat leaderboard any day. We have had some really big fish here on the Raritan, up the Navesink, some big fish in the teens. We're getting more reports of fish up into the high teens and into the 20s. Right over here at the Highlands Bridge, RJ posted a report over at thefisherman.com earlier this week. 5 to 12 pound bluefish right over here hitting pencils at the Highlands Bridge on the outgoing tide. I know the Navesink is loaded with a bunch of big bluefish as well. We're finding out all along the coast they're whacking plugs and Tsunami plastics. They made a mess out of my plastics this week. Jerry Owen McGuigan, he told Dave and the crew over at the Reel Seat that the GT ice cream cone got it done on top. A nice plug to be swimming along on the top. And again, take notice of that treble. There isn't one, right? With all these bluefish around, it's a good thing to put those straight hooks on and get away from the trebles. Again, the AC area, the Atlantic City area, has been on fire with the big bluefish and a lot of action. Jack Dobbs and Louis Venezia, they had them up to 13 pounds earlier in the week. They were fishing behind Brigantine. Checked in with Andy over at Riptide Bait and Tackle, said they were using fresh mullet. Now, I'm finding this week as we got that full moon and the days leading up to the full moon, all my weakfish Sharpie friends have gone dark. So that's got to mean something. Word is the weakfish bite is turning on in the Cape May County area, particularly around Avalon and the Sea Isle area. So if your tight friends, those weakfish friends of yours aren't talking right now, there's a good indication why. You can check out the May edition of the Fisherman magazine. We've got a couple of lure selections in there from a couple of the weakfish Sharpies that did share some information with us. Definitely pick that up, and good opportunity also to get on the Dreamboat leaderboard with a tide runner this month and all the way through June as well. Again, Wednesday's full moon definitely got things into gear. Also got the big black drum bite on target down in the Delaware Bay. We've had a bunch of big boomers now have shown up. Plenty of boat options down there in the Cape May County area. Also, if you go into Fortescue, the Bonanza's running open. You can talk to the guys on the Salt Talk. We've got the Cape Queen break-even charter sailing out of Cape May for the big boomer, so definitely the time is on. Between Cape May and Lewis, by the way, this week, big news. On Wednesday, out offshore at the Del Jersey Land Reef, they sank that big Tamaroa. Remember the Perfect Storm, that Coast Guard vessel from the Perfect Storm? That boat was sunk this week at Del Jersey Land Reef, the Zuni Tamaroa. We'll have more information on that in subsequent issues of the Fisherman magazine. You can go look up Tamaroa, though, on thefisherman.com, find out a little bit more information on that. Other news, of course, I mentioned the ASMFC. They were meeting this week, and we expect to find more on the fluke front sometime on Thursday. So by the time you look at this video, make sure that you check in with us over at thefisherman.com, because if something changes on the fluke front, and we do expect it to change this week, you will find that. As New Jersey makes a case for a smaller size limit, any news update we have on fluke, I encourage you to go visit thefisherman.com this week. Anything that happens this week, we will definitely let you know. Also, while you're over there, like RJ did with a bluefish before, a brand new feature. We allow you now to interact with other fisherman readers. You can add your report by going to thefisherman.com. Would love to see some of your photos, and we'll try to share some of your photos in upcoming editions. But I'll tell you what, the weather looks terrible for this weekend, I know that, but if you get this video on Thursday or Friday, sneak out before the weather turns, because definitely the bluefish are around, and again, that coastal run of striped bass is starting. The live bunker, looking for the bunker schools, the Majas, the mojos, the stretches, it's on, folks. Get on it before you miss out. And until next week, I'm Jim Hutchinson. Catch 'em up, my friends.
Fishing news is brought to you by Okuma and The Real Seat at 707 Union Avenue in Brielle. Gear up for spring trolling with expert wireline installation and a full selection of mojos, plugs, and bunker spoons. Win the incredible Steigercraft 21 DB Miami, powered by a Yamaha 200, in the ultimate season-long multiple species subscriber-only fishing competition, the Fisherman's 2017 Dream Boat Fishing Challenge. Go to thefisherman.com and enter today.